All right. Thank you all for coming back from the break promptly. We will now listen to a keynote address from Bob Smith, who I mentioned before is the Vice President of Global Gene Therapy Business at Pfizer, and we're going to get a brief introduction to Bob from Dr. Cassell.
Gene therapy is a rapidly developing new way to transform the treatment of neurodegenerative disorders, including Alzheimer's, Parkinson's, and Huntington's diseases, and ALS, as well as a variety of cancers. Focused ultrasound is just now beginning to be recognized as having the potential to markedly enhance the effectiveness of gene therapy by serving as a non-invasive drug delivery platform. We are very fortunate to have Bob Smith as a keynote speaker. Bob is the head of Pfizer's global gene therapy program. He has had a long and successful career in pharma, bridging both the scientific and business domains. Additionally, he is an informed focused ultrasound enthusiast, having served on the advisory board of a venture capital firm investing in focused ultrasound manufacturers. Bob, thank you for joining us.
Hello, I'm Bob Smith, Senior Vice President, Gene Therapy and Rare Disease at Pfizer. I work in our Commercial Strategy and Innovation team, which is responsible for the end-to-end strategic direction and operational implementation of our various business line portfolios. In my case, I'm responsible for gene therapy and rare disease. And Pfizer started investing in gene therapy in 2014 with the view that this new technology would be broadly applicable to patients with genetically defined diseases. Within the rare disease community, there's roughly 7,000 rare diseases, and of those, more than 80% have a genetic etiology. And of those 7,000 diseases, roughly 50% of them primarily impact on infants and young children with significant morbidity and early mortality. The potential of gene therapy in these rare monogenic diseases is highly feasible to deliver transformational clinical benefits because by using gene therapy approaches, we can affect and change the course of the underlying genetic etiology of a disease. Here at Pfizer, we now have 3 programs that are in phase 3 development, 3 more that are in early clinical development with various partners, and a broad portfolio of more than 20 preclinical programs. And we're expanding our gene therapy platform beyond traditional gene addition using viral-mediated vectors to more advanced second and third generation gene editing and base editing technologies. The challenge with gene therapy is that the delivery component of how we actually deliver a gene into a patient to the right tissue, to the right cell types within that tissue, and at the right dose to produce this transformational benefit is a significant challenge. One of the potential solutions is using focused ultrasound as an enabler to improve the delivery of either viral-mediated gene therapies or other modalities such as lipid nanoparticles and other forms of nanoparticles that can encapsulate the gene of interest and deliver it to the specific cell types within a specific tissue at the right dose. I became interested in focused ultrasound through investments that we were making in different technology companies using histotripsy as a potential solution for patients with internal organ cancers that were highly intractable to either surgery, radiation, or traditional chemotherapies. What's exciting about the use of focused ultrasound is that it can be used in a new and novel way to deliver drugs and other pharmaceutical agents precisely to focal points within the body in very high concentration, non-invasively. And some of the early clinical work that is being done is starting to lead to some exciting results. And in addition, using these technologies could potentially also decrease systemic side effects and other toxicities that traditional delivery approaches often involve. The mechanism of actions of focused ultrasound include potentially reversibly opening the blood-brain barrier. This is a significant challenge for the delivery of gene therapies and other genetic forms of therapies to disorders that primarily affect the central nervous system. Focused ultrasound can also enhance the permeability of stroma and other tissues, such as the pancreas, where it's been difficult to get good clinical benefits based upon certain limitations of the therapeutics that we've been using. In addition, it can enhance the permeability of cell membranes. It can activate the release of compounds from nanoparticles, such as microbubbles and or liposomes. The need of focused ultrasound community is both related to the manufacture of the devices, primarily now in research laboratories, and also becoming more and more available both for clinical development and also for commercial purposes, is that it's a partnership between a medical device manufacturer as well as the academic teams that are developing these medicines and new therapeutics. One of the other challenges is for the collective field is how do we prioritize clinical indications that would be worthy of partnerships between academic groups, the medical device manufacturers, and potential biotech and pharmaceutical companies such as Pfizer. We're interested in certain types of diseases. As I mentioned, in our gene therapy and rare disease platform, we're focused on having programs that will deliver a transformational benefit that will change a patient's life. We're working to address the limitations of our technology platforms, but also working to amplify the strengths. We've come to learn that every technology platform has an inherent set of advantages or benefits and an inherent set of limitations. And I think collectively between the academic community, the focused ultrasound medical device companies, and regulatory agencies, as well as the biotech and pharma community, that we could work together in novel ways of addressing some of these limitations to improve the broader applicability of focused ultrasound to many more patients. We also view that in order to be able to do this effectively, having novel partnerships and different ways of working across the spectrum of entities that are involved in the development of this technology would be a great advance. One of the things that Neil Castle, who's the chairperson of the Focused Ultrasound Foundation and one of its founders, is that it's been traditionally challenging for pharma and biotech companies to work with the focused ultrasound community. And I just want to share some insights, not to address the why of that, but just to give you a broader understanding of how does a big pharma company look at investing in a novel technology, and how can we best share some of our experiences and learning to advance the collective field. So fundamentally, when we start to invest in a new technology, similar as I described that Pfizer started investing in gene therapy in 2014, we take a very long-term strategic view. We understand that these technologies are emerging. There's many things that we know well about it, and there's probably an equal number of things that we don't know quite as well. So it's kind of the realm of the known unknowns and then the unknown unknowns. And in order to effectively invest in this type of an area, we look, first of all, for the opportunity to apply the technology in a collaborative way where we can leverage the strengths of our collective partners, but also in areas that are on what we call commercial strategy. So when we invest, for example, in rare disease at Pfizer, we're focused on 4 core franchise or disease areas where we have deep understanding of the basic biology behind these diseases. We understand the genetic etiologies well. We understand the early preclinical research models that are needed to support the scientific foundations. And we also have expertise in managing both early, mid, and late stage clinical development. Plus, we have made significant investments in the ability to manufacture different types of modalities, whether they're small molecule therapeutics or recombinant protein therapeutics, or in the case of the area that I'm responsible for, which are gene therapies. which are largely viral vector-mediated therapeutics. In addition to all of the elements of success that I described, we also look to make sure that we have a sound regulatory strategy. So you can think of it as the mantra of begin with the end in mind. We know what type of transformational clinical benefit we would like to deliver to patients with a certain disease. We understand the cause of the disease. We understand how best to develop it both preclinically to address safety and efficacy issues that would then be the foundation for the filing of an investigational new drug application with the regulatory agency to enable the application of this new product opportunity to patients in a clinical study designed first to understand safety and then efficacy, and then in later stage clinical trials to prove that the medicine has a positive benefit risk profile for patients in need, and that we also have the ability to then deliver that potential new medicine through our manufacturing infrastructure and our commercial distribution infrastructure. So you can see there's a long continuum of activities that are required to make an investment in a new technology platform so that we would have a high degree of confidence that we would deliver a product that would benefit patients and the overall healthcare system. So let me just give a few more details about how we go about thinking through the challenges of making those investment choices. First, we want to have the ability to deliver a transformational clinical benefit. So that means a deep understanding of the biology of the disease, the etiology of the disease, the clinical development as I described, and those elements need to make sense also in an investment timeline. It can't be decades, but we also know that realistically, this area of research and clinical development requires an appropriate amount of care and thought and time. So we also look at elements in terms of what our investment profile would look like in terms of our risk. So, for example, what would be the cost of failure versus the potential benefit of winning and having a product that would make it through that research and development continuum and ultimately benefit patients. We also look at things such as what I describe as scientific and technical due diligence. We dive deep into the details about how the technology could be applicable in a way that would be complementary or synergistic with our therapeutic approaches. So we really look at those basic scientific foundations, much of the work that the focused ultrasound community has done with the application of the technology to date across a wide variety of indications. But when we apply it in combination with the therapeutic, you need to make sure that those are going to work additively or potentially even synergistically and not be a negative impact either in terms of safety or efficacy. And then we also look at other, what I would describe as more qualitative, intangible type aspects of how we invest in a technology. For example, will we be able to attract the appropriate level of scientific expertise to build relationships with key opinion leaders and patient communities that may be impacted by the diseases? So there's a lot of elements beyond just the science and the technology and the ability to manufacture it and deliver that are important to what we would determine to be kind of the mix of success factors. And one of those, for example, would be making sure that we cultivate both externally and internally with strong champions and knowledge experts who can assist us as we develop a technology in an area that we're not initially the most expert in. And I can also share a little bit about our experience in building our gene therapy platform, which was we followed a model of build, buy, and partner. We built on a foundation of many decades of investment in biotechnology, the understanding of genetic medicines, the screening and elucidation of the human genome, and also our deep biology and disease expertise, as I mentioned earlier. Those were kind of the fundamentals of us building because we used our internal capabilities to expand into a new scientific frontier in gene therapy. But we also relied extensively on a network of partnerships that we had with academic centers who had been investing in research development of gene therapies for many decades. We also partnered with a network of small to mid-sized biotechnology companies where we were able to work collaboratively with them in a way that would enable them to deliver all of the expertise that they had built themselves in an area where we were new to investing in, but where they were experienced in investing in. They did a lot of their early research and clinical development, and then we subsequently took over for later stage development, where we knew that we could use our extensive global footprint and our scale of operating in more than 140 countries across the world to deliver these potential medicines to many more patients than a smaller or mid-sized company would likely ever be able to do. And so the other key aspect that I would just like to share is we at Pfizer, and I'm sure at other large pharmaceutical companies, know that the areas of scientific exploration and the pioneering work that Neil and the foundation and others in the focused ultrasound community are doing are highly important. We've been actively monitoring the field, and I look forward to learning more as we go through the symposium over the next couple of days. And also, I'm very much looking forward to moderating the gene therapy session on Thursday afternoon, October 27th. If you'd like to learn more about what we're doing in gene therapy at Pfizer and how we could potentially collaborate in the future, please feel free to reach out to me or to set up a time where we could get together and discuss further while I'm at the symposium on Thursday, October 27th. Thank you for your time and your interest in learning more about how we at Pfizer look at investing in new novel technologies, and also for your interest in learning more about the Pfizer gene therapy business. Thank you